Joe Rogan recently called out Jake Paul after he canceled his highly anticipated fight with Mike Tyson. Rogan, the well-known UFC commentator and podcaster, didn't hold back, expressing his disbelief and frustration over Paul's decision. Jake Paul, the YouTuber-turned-boxer, had been hyping the fight with Tyson for months. Fans were excited, bets were placed, and the anticipation was through the roof. However, Paul suddenly pulled the plug, sparking outrage among fight fans and boxing professionals alike. Many felt betrayed after all the hype, and criticism poured in from all sides. Rogan, a legend in combat sports commentary, had previously warned Paul about the potential dangers of fighting Tyson. He highlighted the significant age difference, Tyson's formidable power, and the inherent risks involved. Rogan's advice was clear: fighting Tyson might not be the best idea for Paul. Despite this, Paul dismissed the warnings and even took jabs at Rogan, telling him to stay out of his business. On his podcast, Rogan didn't hold back his thoughts, pointing out the absurdity of Paul's actions and emphasizing the seriousness of fighting someone like Tyson, who was the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Rogan's criticism reflects the broader sentiment in the fight community. Paul may have underestimated the gravity of stepping into the ring with Tyson and is now facing the backlash of his decision. In the aftermath, the fight world is in chaos, with many questioning Paul's credibility and future in boxing. The drama is far from over as fans and critics alike wait to see how Paul will navigate this controversy.
Tyson's the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody.
Hold on to your hats, because Joe Rogan wasn't done after the cancellation of the epic bout between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Rogan went off on Jake Paul in a scorched earth tirade, calling him a pretender, accusing him of disrespecting the sport, and basically saying he chickened out. You could practically feel Rogan's disappointment radiating through the screen. It was a masterclass in roasting. Rogan labeled Jake a cop-out, stating that's not just disappointing, it's laughable. He questioned the point of hyping up a fight if Paul wasn't going to see it through, marking this as a massive letdown for everyone who was excited about the matchup. This isn't the first time Rogan has fired shots at Paul. He's been keeping tabs on every boxing decision Paul has made, and it's safe to say Rogan's not happy with any of them. Let's rewind a bit to March, when the internet imploded with the news of this epic showdown. A YouTuber turned boxer going toe-to-toe with the legendary Iron Mike Tyson. It was like a fever dream or a nightmare, depending on whom you asked. A clash of generations no one had imagined, but it was true. Gen Z was hyped, the old heads were skeptical, but one thing was certain: everyone was talking about it. The potential for knockouts and the massive payday had excitement through the roof. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, and bam! News breaks that Tyson has a medical emergency, and the fight is off. Some folks were genuinely concerned about Mike's health, but let's be real, the timing was a little suspicious. The internet went wild with speculation. Was this a legit medical issue, or did Iron Mike get cold feet? Did Jake Paul's team somehow orchestrate this whole thing? If you take Joe Rogan's word for it, it was all on Paul. The UFC commentator exposed the boxer, suggesting Paul backed out. Jake Paul isn't one to stay silent, and he fired back, throwing Mike's health under the bus for the cancellation of the bout. He claimed he didn't want to risk Tyson's health and didn't want to force Mike into stepping into the ring if his health wasn't up to it. Paul asserted he was giving the legend more time to prepare by pulling the plug on the fight. Big words, Jakey, don't you think? Rogan's fiery criticism reflected the broader sentiment in the fight community. Many questioned Paul's credibility and future in boxing. The drama is far from over as fans and critics alike wait to see how Paul will navigate this controversy. As the dust settles, the fight world remains in chaos, wondering whether this showdown will ever happen or if it was doomed from the start. One thing is clear: Joe Rogan's explosive commentary has added fuel to an already blazing fire.
Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this event, the whole undercard.
Jake Paul's dismissal of Mike Tyson's health concerns drew heavy criticism, with fans blasting him for calling the boxing legend a sick chicken. Paul seemed eager to find an escape plan upon realizing Tyson was still formidable, not the aging fighter he expected. Despite conventional wisdom about aging athletes, Tyson appeared sharp and powerful in recent training videos, challenging the notion of decline. Mike Tyson's enduring physical prowess, possibly bolstered by modern medicine, remains undeniable. At 58, he appears formidable, leaving Jake Paul apprehensive. Imagine the scenario: an aged Tyson, fueled by both science and his legendary spirit, facing off against a young, ambitious Jake Paul. On paper, it may seem lopsided, but Tyson's potential edge in physicality and knockout power casts uncertainty. Mike Tyson's withdrawal due to a minor ulcer flare-up during a cross-country flight sparked controversy. Despite assuring fans it was minor and wouldn't affect the fight, the bout was canceled. Jake Paul quickly blamed Tyson's health issue, stirring more debate. Joe Rogan cautioned Paul about the repercussions of pulling out of a signed fight contract. Such actions could constitute a breach, legally binding fighters to show up and perform. Tyson's assurance of returning to full training soon contrasts sharply with Paul's predicament. The cancellation bought Paul time, but Tyson's return looms with a promise of delivering a memorable performance later this year. Fans were shocked by the abrupt turn of events, with Tyson's readiness to knock out Paul on any given day reaffirmed. In the aftermath, Paul faces not just a public relations battle but potentially legal ramifications. Rogan's warning about Tyson's likely response resonates. Withdrawal from a signed contract could leave Paul vulnerable to severe consequences in the boxing world.
Different day, same fate. I'll knock out Jake Paul.
Mike Tyson remains ready to fight, highlighting the contractual implications for Jake Paul. Tyson's legal team is reportedly preparing a substantial $300 million lawsuit for breach of contract, emphasizing the seriousness of backing out after hyping up the fight. This move is seen as disrespectful not only to the sport and fans but also to Tyson himself, a boxing icon who has shaped the sport's integrity. Jake Paul, known for his brash persona and claims of being a professional boxer, now faces a stark reality check. While negotiations and settlements may unfold, Tyson isn't likely to let Paul off easily. The situation casts doubt on Paul's commitment and reveals a different side of the YouTube-turned boxer. In the meantime, Jake Paul has lined up a fight with bare-knuckle star Mike Perry on July 20th, replacing the canceled Tyson bout. Though not Tyson versus Paul, this matchup promises intensity. Speculation swirls about a potential rescheduled bout with Tyson on November 15th, but uncertainties loom. Fight fans await developments as the saga unfolds in the unpredictable world of boxing.